Hey everyone, it's Ryan with Stock Investing and Trading 101. Today I'm making a video. The topic is 6 stocks that I'm currently buying, even though the market has now reached new all-time highs. So this is going to be really focused on now that we're at all-time highs once again. I really don't like to buy stocks when they're at their all-time highs, but I'm still always looking to invest my money, so I'm trying to find the best deals possible. So that's really the point of the 6 stocks that I see potential in right now. But first, we're going to briefly go over, and I'm going to show you guys where we are in the market and just a few things that I'm noticing. So first, this is a chart of the SPY, a 1-minute chart. This is today's price action in here, and it pretty much just made a nice big gap up. It was really bullish in the morning. It hit the new highs at 303.85, and then it just kind of came down just a little bit and went sideways. This is a long-term 1-year chart for 1-day, 1-year chart. And as you see, we're at all-time highs up here at 303, so that's just where we are in the market. One more thing before we get into the stocks is that I wanted to show the chart for the VIX. So the VIX also went up today while the market hit new all-time highs, which I thought was pretty interesting that usually these are kind of inverse, where if the market is hitting new all-time highs, this would usually come down. But that's just something that I thought was interesting. So the first stock, when we're looking at the stocks that I'm currently buying, is IBM. And this stock has already somewhat come up a little bit, but it had bad earnings last week. It came down pretty hard, and I was buying pretty much, up all in this whole range right here. And I think I mentioned it, but I'm still buying here. It's at almost a 5% dividend yield right here. So, it's a pretty nice yield right off the bat. And I think it's potentially undervalued. And if it does dip down from here, because it could come down further, I think that might be something very good to watch. The next one is McDonald's. So I never thought I would really come to it, at least at this point, that McDonald's is now currently a stock that I'm buying because it's undervalued and that it's came down in price, because I've been waiting to buy this stock now, to be honest. I really like this company and I've been buying it on the way up, but just not very much of it because I just don't like to buy the stocks when they're overpriced. So now this is where we are. It's had a rough earnings and it's just had quite a few red days, big red days in a row now, and I'm definitely buying here. This is probably my #1 buy, along with IBM is probably my #2 right now. I just really like this, and I like the levels that it's at, and I definitely think that buying here would be setting up for a nice bounce at some point in the future. Next, we're going to look at Caterpillar. So this isn't really the greatest example of a stock that's undervalued because it's almost back at its 1-year highs, and I thought that was pretty interesting because Caterpillar had a really rough time during the Chinese trade tensions, and it was something that I mentioned buying, but I didn't buy all too much of it. But it's just interesting to see. It's been pretty bullish lately, so I'm not sure if it's too overvalued right now to buy, but it's just looking pretty bullish right now, and I just wanted to quickly show that chart to you guys. Next, we're going to look at 3M. So this is also somewhat on the rise. It's had a rough time now for half a year or longer at this point. It had a really rough last earnings, and it came down a ton. And we're pretty much still in this tight range that's undervalued in my opinion. So I think this is still something to keep an eye out for and to slowly build up a position. That's what I'm doing, is slowly averaging in here and there, slowly building a position. Next is Boeing. So Boeing, I'm sure everyone has heard about Boeing and Boeing news lately, about just all the news, the planes and everything. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. But looking at the chart, I just think this is a good opportunity to potentially start averaging into a position. It's one of 2 companies, I believe, that can build these planes in the USA, and I don't know, I just think it's undervalued. Some people don't like the company, but I'm slowly building a position here. Once again, I'm really looking more at McDonald's and IBM right now, but I'm still looking at Boeing. Lastly, Johnson & Johnson. So Once again, this is another stock that I'm sure most people have been keeping their eye on and know what's going on with it. But I think this is a really strong company. This would probably be my number three because this is a really very strong company. They're just having some very temporary, in my opinion, temporary issues, and I just think it's a great company. So that's really the reason that I'm showing this, and it's not at all-time highs, so it may be a good buy. It's gonna too early to see. But that's all I got today, guys. Just kind of showing you guys a few of the stocks that I've been keeping my eyes on and that I've been watching and buying into. One more thing is that AT&T had their earnings today, and surprisingly, at least in my opinion, it went pretty well for them. So they gapped up almost $2 from 36.38 to over $2. So good earnings for AT&T. I haven't checked out the conference call yet, but I think that's really interesting, and congrats to all the AT&T investors. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.